Hi everyone, and thank you for clicking on to this video. So I'm just going to get straight into it today. In this video, I'm going to be covering the very strange case of Peter Bergmann. So Peter Bergmann's story starts off in Derry, where he boarded a mid-afternoon bus over the border to Sligo on June 12, 2009. After arriving in Sligo at 6:28 p.m, the man took a taxi to the centre of town, even though to walk from the bus station to the town centre would only take about 10 minutes at an average pace. This suggests to people that either he did not know the area or wanted to be seen by as few people as possible. He also had two bags to carry. One was a purple bag for life carrier bag, and the other one was a suitcase. So it is possible that this is why he took the taxi, as he was a frail looking man. It was a Friday night and the middle of the summer holidays, so the first hotel that the man stopped off at was full. The next was the Sligo City Hotel on Quay Street. There were a few rooms available, so Peter had paid for 3 nights up front. In the hotel register, the gentleman wrote Peter Bergmann, address Einsteturns 154472, Vienna, Austria. This made sense, as he had a German accent. At no point did the hotel staff ask for proof of ID. He settled down for the night in his room, and the next day Peter left the hotel with his purple bag for life full and made his way down to the local post office at 10:49 a.m. There he bought 8 stamps and some airmail stickers. He ran some errands around the town before returning back to the hotel to grab some food and popping back out for the occasional cigarette, all the while keeping to himself. One strange thing to note, when looking back on CCTV footage, was that he would leave the hotel with his purple bag for life bag full, but then when he'd return later on, it would be empty, or sometimes even possibly tucked away in his pocket because you wouldn't see it.
He was very hard to keep track of because he was in and out so much. Into the elevator, he was just constant flow of traffic with him in and out the front door with this purple bag.
In the early afternoon on Sunday, Peter walked to a taxi rank in the city and softly asked to be taken to a quiet beach where he could go for a swim. The taxi driver took him to Ross's Point, the peninsula known for its dramatic views, about 15 minutes away by car. On arrival, Bergmann got out and took a look at his surroundings. But to the taxi driver's surprise, the gentleman didn't go far. In fact, he never closed the taxi door before turning around and getting back in. The taxi driver, a little confused, was then asked to bring him back to Sligo, where once again Peter would take a walk around Sligo town, walking through the crowds unseen, before returning with an emptied purple bag and spending the night on his own.
One of the girls that would clean the rooms came down. They couldn't get into his room, so I went to the room that day and I knocked and I got no reply. So I opened the door and I went in, and as I walked in, I knew I startled him. He was just standing inside the door from us. Remember, it was kind of like he froze and he looked at me. It wasn't that kind of a startled look. It was nearly like as if I caught him doing something that he shouldn't have been, or that I caught him off guard. It was relief, I think, that it was me. Whether he was expecting somebody or something, I don't know. But I think he was relieved to see that it was a member of staff from the hotel that had entered the room.
Just after 1 p.m. on the Monday, 15th of June, Peter Bergmann checked out of his hotel and gave his room key back in a reception. He had with him a new black luggage case and his purple bag and set off on foot to the bus station. At one point, he stopped in the doorway of a shopping centre and waited. He looked like he was about to turn back, but shortly afterwards continued on his way to the bus station. When he had arrived, he had a meal of ham and cheese toasted sandwich and a cappuccino in the station cafe. And on CCTV footage, he is seen looking at a small piece of paper and constantly folding it and opening it before tearing it up and throwing it in the rubbish bin. The bus left the station with Peter on board at 2:20 p.m. Once at Ross's Point, 16 people had said that they had seen Peter on the beach. He stood out somewhat, as he appeared to be a bit overdressed for the seaside. He wasn't trying to hide himself. They all remember a gentleman greeting strangers who passed him by. For the next 8 hours, he was seen wandering along the beach. Many who saw him noticed that he appeared nervous and that he took his clothes off one by one. At 11:50 p.m., Peter was seen walking along the beach for the last time. On June 16th, the day after Peter's trip to the seaside, not long after 6 a.m., a local man and his son were jogging along the sand. Amid the last remnants of a sea fog, they were the first to find the washed-up body of a thin, middle-aged man with closely cropped grey hair. Peter Bergmann was dead, but the mystery was just about to begin. His clothing and personal belongings were found on rocks around 300 meters from his body. However, his glasses and a blue cardigan he was seen wearing have never been located. Peter's body had been taken to post-mortem. The pockets of his clothes were empty. No money, no wallet, no forms of identification. The labels of his clothing had been cut out. There are differing reports of his cause of death, but it was either drowning or a heart attack. His body was battered and wrecked. The tests revealed advanced prostate cancer and bone tumors. He had suffered previous heart attacks and was missing a kidney. The toxicology report returned no evidence of medication in his system, despite the intensity of pain he must have been suffering. Authorities checked his address and found a vacant lot in Austria, and extensive searches didn't reveal any Peter Bergmann who could possibly match the man's description. The letters he posted from Sligo have never been traced, and no one has come forward to say that they have received them. Peter's last days were pieced together by looking through Sligo's CCTV network. During his stay at the hotel, the man was seen on security footage leaving the building with a purple plastic bag full of items or personal effects. However, when he returned from his long walk, he was no longer carrying the bag. It is presumed that he had disposed of his belongings throughout Sligo and then folded the bag and put it in his pocket. Authorities were unable to identify what he threw away in the bins, as he used the public blind spots of surveillance cameras to his advantage. His movements were very meticulous and methodical, as if he knew where to hide his personal belongings that could have identified him. The man who spent his last days as Peter Bergmann has never been identified. Detective Inspector Muldridge is the third inspector given this case. He believes Sligo was no random choice of destination. He believes that there was a purpose to it, as there was a purpose to everything else that he had done. From the cutting of the labels of his clothes to placing the torn up papers in separate bins. So this is all of the information that I have on this case. There are plenty of theories out there on the internet as to who this man was and why he done the things that he did. But let me know if you have any theories about this case, or if you've already heard some theories, what's your favourite one? Comment them down below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did find this interesting. If you did and you would like to see more of my videos, then please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, stay safe. Bye.